Assalamu alaikum dear students. Today in our class of health biotechnology, we will focus on protein therapeutics and we will particularly discuss biopharmaceuticals. So in biopharmaceuticals, we can also call them as biotechnology drugs. These are those proteins which are used as experimental or approved therapies for different disease states. And we will particularly focus on the three biopharmaceuticals: human interferons, human growth hormones, and tumor necrosis factor alpha. If you look at the drug statistics, this is the one which I searched on the 8th of May. You can see the total number of biotechnology drugs is around 4,279, which is quite a huge number. Remember, these drugs are brought into the market after years of hard work and a decade of clinical trials. This table indicates the examples of some recombinant proteins which have been approved for use in humans for different pathological conditions, and this approval is acquired in United States or the European Union. When it comes to United States, there is this FDA, which is actually Food and Drug Administration Authority. So that FDA approves the use of any compound, chemical, protein for therapeutic purposes. In Pakistan, we have DRAP. DRAP is Drug Regulation Authority of Pakistan, and we get permission from DRAP if we have to market any medicine, any drug. But there are nutraceuticals which do not come under the jurisdictions of DRAP in Pakistan. Similarly, if you are using anything which is food based, as I have told you, nutraceuticals are the things which are basically food in nature, but you can give them in different pathological conditions. The nutraceuticals are not drugs or medicines. They are simply the everyday edible stuff. So they don't come under the jurisdiction of DRAP, but they do come under the jurisdiction of our food authority. So you can see here there are a number of proteins mentioned in this table, including insulin. You can also see osteogenic proteins. You can also see stem cell factor, tissue plasminogen activators, and factor 8, factor 9, glucagon, etc. So some of these names are known to us and others we don't. So I would recommend that you go through these names which are unfamiliar to you and look for which pathological conditions they are given in, like for the treatment of which disease or pathological conditions they are prescribed. The global market for biopharmaceutical is very huge. You can see here that in 2023, or if we specifically look at 2025, which is the current year, the estimated market for biopharmaceutical is 415 billion US dollar, and it is anticipated that by the year 2033 it will become 940 billion US dollar. So it is growing rapidly, and that is why I emphasize you all biotechnologists to look for such avenues. You must explore biopharmaceutical among other biotechnology avenues because it has huge room for you students. You can also start your own companies once you get know-how of how these biopharmaceutical companies work. Yes, initially we will take very small steps, but these small steps ultimately lead to bigger success in future, inshallah ta'ala. So you can see that the global market anticipated increase is 10.76 CAGR. So when we look at these top sellers biologics in the recent years, these includes Keytruda, which is being marketed by Merck. It is an immunotherapeutic agent. We can also see Humira, which is by AbbVie, and it is basically a monoclonal antibody which is used for autoimmune disease symptom management. And we can also see Dupixent, which is marketed by Sanofi or Regeneron. It is used for treating asthma or eczema. We can also see Trulicity, which is being marketed by Eli Lilly. It is actually a GLP-1 receptor agonist, and this is used for the management of diabetes. We can also see another important top seller biologic, which is Opdivo. This is marketed by Bristol Myers Squibb, and it is also a immunotherapeutic agent. Here I want to introduce you to a term which is blockbuster drugs. You have heard this blockbuster when it comes to blockbuster movies, but we haven't mentioned blockbuster drugs before in our biotechnology classes. So the blockbuster drugs are those medications which generate at least 1 billion US dollars in annual sales for the pharmaceutical company that sells them. Okay, we are talking about a single company. If it makes around 1 billion annual sale by selling that drug, then we will call that drug as the blockbuster. So these drugs are not for the rare disorders. Rather, they are targeted for conditions which are widespread, like high cholesterol, diabetes, hypertension, asthma, and cancer. When we look at the first three diseases, high cholesterol, diabetes, and hypertension, it is so prevalent even in a developing world like Pakistan. If you are going to look around you, even within your families, you are going to find there are a huge number of people who are affected with these diseases, and these are chronic in nature, so they go for decades. And if a person gets these diseases, then these can only be managed, they cannot be cured completely. As a result, the medicines which are used for the management of these disorders will go throughout the life of that person, which means economic burden for the person, but on the other hand, it will be a source of income for the company who is selling those medicines. So some of the biggest blockbuster drugs of all time includes Lipitor, Zoloft, and Vioxx. These are used for the above mentioned disorders. And I'm going to tell you a very important fact that in 2024, Merck Keytruda led the market with nearly 29.5 billions in sales by selling these blockbuster drugs. And then they were followed by Eliquis, who made $20.7 billion. Then Ozempic, they made $17.5 billion, followed by Dupixent, who made 14.1 billion US dollars. So you can see the huge market share of biopharmaceutical drugs. Now, in 2025, it is expected that 11 new drugs will reach the blockbuster status, and that includes Novo Nordisk's Avicli, which is a long-acting insulin. Then there is Cobenfy, which is from Bristol Myers Squibb, and that is used for the treatment of schizophrenia. And then for the hemophilia treatment, there is this Fitusiran, which is by Sanofi. So they might also, it is anticipated that this year they will turn out to be the blockbuster drugs among the others, which